Grab a flashlight for today's reading of Secrets from the Seashore with Alina. Storytime is powered by PNC Grow Up Great.
Secrets of the Seashore. A tide pool is a hollow on the seashore. Can you see what happens when the tide comes in? Ooh. What can you see? Whoosh! The seawater flows in with the tide and fills the tide pool. Creatures that live in seawater have waited for the tide pool to fill. What's hiding in these shells? What are those? Bloop, 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 bloop. Mussels keep their blue shells tightly shut while the tide is out. Now they open their shells and begin to feed. Creatures cling to the rocks around the pool. Who could live in shells like these? Well, let's see. Ooh. Barnacles come to life in the water. They reach out their feathery legs to wave tiny pieces of food into their mouths. Other creatures are waking up too. What are these jewel-like animals? What are these? Stretch! Two sea anemones are searching for their food with their long, wrinkly tentacles. They eat small fish and shrimp. Dark nooks under the rocks are perfect hiding places. Can you see who's resting here? Click, click. A crab holds its pincers up, ready to grab a tidbit to eat. But the crab is on the move. There's another hunter nearby. Hold tight! A starfish uses tube-like suckers on its underside to hold onto the rocks. Another animal with suckers is resting in the tide pool. Can you count its 8 arms? An octopus has 8 long arms with suckers on the underside. It crawls slowly over the rocks. There is an animal hiding in the sand. Only its eyes can be seen. What do you think it is? Splish, splash! A small fish lives in the tide pool. It hides under rocks, in seaweed, and in the sand. Another tide pool creature lives in this large shell. What do you think it could be? Surprise! A hermit crab has made his home in this empty shell. This whelk is sharing its part of the tide pool with small swimming creatures. Can you see them? Where are they hiding? Swish! Shrimp move backwards by quickly flicking their tails. Their see-through bodies are much easier to find when they move. Something is waving in the water. Which plant lives in the sea? Slick and slimy seaweed anchors itself to rocks and grows in the sun. But what slithers along in the seaweed? Well, let's see. A whelk is looking for other shellfish. It can drill a hole through a shell to eat the creatures inside. A sleek sea otter has spotted something. Can you see what she wants for dinner? Ouch! Most animals stay away from those nasty spikes, but a sea urchin is a tasty meal for the sea otters. Which orange-beaked bird lives on the seashore? An oyster catcher is calling out to other birds. Squawk! Can you see what the oyster catcher has found in the sand? It's a clam! The oyster catcher's long beak is perfect for finding buried food. Slowly, the tide retreats, and with it, much of the water in the tide pool. Its animals and plants are resting again, waiting for the next time for the tide to come in. The end. So we learned all about sea creatures, what they eat, where they're from. But we can't take creatures home from the beach. So today we're going to be making our own sea creatures. A cool, colorful jellyfish that you can hang to have a piece of the sea with you. So to do this activity, you only need a handful of items. First, you're going to need some white yarn like this, cut into long strips. Do about 6 of them. You're going to need some colorful acrylic paint to color your beautiful sea creature. You're going to need a paper bowl, just like this. A paintbrush, if you can have one, for your painting. If not, you can use your fingers. A skewer, or a very sharp pencil. And 2 plastic baggies. So to start this, you're going to want to start by coloring your paper bowl with your paint. To do this, you can do whatever color you want, make it look as pretty as possible. But for the sake of saving time, I have one pre-made just like this. Hope it's pretty. Now the first things we're going to do is we're going to take our skewer. Kids, make sure you have your parents help you with this so you do not hurt yourselves, please and thank you. You're going to make 2 puncture holes right in the middle across from each other, just like so. It might be a little difficult, so please make sure you have your parents there to help you. There we are. Sturdy paper bowls are the best. Now that we have our 2 punctures, the next step we're going to do is we're going to take a nice piece of our yarn and we're going to run it through our holes. It might be a little tricky, so also have your parents help you out here. You can use your skewer or your sharp pencil to help you push it through one side on the bottom and then push it through the other hole, just like so. So this will be the hanging piece we're going to use, and you want to make sure you have a nice big hole here because this is where our tentacles are going to go for our jellyfish. Now the next step might be a little messy, so make sure you have a napkin on hand so you don't get paint everywhere. For our plastic baggies, this is where we're going to put our tentacles in, just like this. Put them in just like that. Squirt a little bit of paint in. And then afterwards, what it's going to look like is going to be nice and messy, just like these. Make sure you squish it around to get all the paint over it. And once you're finished, you take it outside to let it dry. When it dries, it should look a little bit something like this. Our wonderful green jellyfish tentacles. Now that we have our tentacles, the next step is to run it through our string here. So what's going to happen is you're going to pull it out just like this, and you are going to run your tentacles halfway through the yarn. Then you're going to pull this tight, just like that. Have your parents help you tie a knot. And then once you have that knot tied, you have your very own hanging jelly to keep in your room.
What did you learn about the seashore today? Storytime is powered by PNC Grow Up Great. Thank you for joining us for Virtual Camp Discovery. This series is brought to you by Citrix, Mod's official innovation partner.